Well, viewers, on your screens, we'll put up a video that marks a new chapter in the history of astronomy. This video that you see is that of SpaceX's Crew 11, which splashed down off the coast of San Diego in California at exactly 3:41 a.m. Eastern Time today. 4 astronauts splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule, marking NASA's first ever medical evacuation from the International Space Station. This wasn't just a dramatic emergency siren blaring through the void, but a deliberate, controlled decision to prioritize human health over mission timelines. For the very first time in the ISS's 25-plus years of continuous human presence, a crew returned early due to a serious but undisclosed medical issue affecting one member. Hello and welcome to NewsX Deep Dive with me, Piyaman. Today we talk about the first ever medical evacuation from space. Crew 11 launched on the 1st of August aboard the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft Endeavour. They docked with the station shortly after beginning what was planned as a roughly 6-month expedition. Their schedule included scientific experiments, station maintenance, and even a planned spacewalk by Cartman and Fink to install new solar array hardware. But last week, everything changed. One of the 4 astronauts aboard the flight fell sick enough that NASA decided to cut the mission short. Let's take a look at who exactly these 4 astronauts who returned back to Earth are. Let's start with the mission's commander, Zena Cartman. Born on 26 October 1987, Zena is a geobiologist and a NASA astronaut selected in 2017 as part of the Turtles class. A Virginia native, she earned her bachelor's in biology and master's in marine sciences from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, focusing on subsurface geochemistry and microbial life in extreme environments like caves and deep sea sediments. This marked her first space flight as Crew 11 commander, where she led the international team through science operations and station maintenance. Cartman emphasized the crew's strong family-like bond during the unexpected early return. Next in the crew is pilot Mike Fink. Edward Michael Fink, born on 14 March 1967, is a veteran NASA astronaut and retired U.S. Air Force colonel, selected in 1996. A Pennsylvania native, he holds degrees from MIT in aeronautics and earth sciences and Stanford and the University of Houston as well. Fink has logged over 537 days in space across 4 missions, including 2 long-duration ISS expeditions and 9 spacewalks, totaling nearly 49 hours. On the Crew 11, this was his 4th flight overall. He described his early return as bittersweet but the right call for thorough medical evaluation, praising global teamwork that symbolizes 25 years of ISS habitation. Now let's talk about the Crew 11's mission specialist, Kimiya Yui. Born on 30th January 1970 in Nagano Prefecture in Japan, she's a JASA astronaut and retired Japan Air Self-Defense Force fighter pilot selected in 2009. A 1992 National Defense Academy graduate, he flew F-15 Eagles and served in defense planning before astronaut training. This was his 2nd ISS mission. His first in 2015 lasted 142 days, where he captured Japan's HTV cargo ship robotically on Crew 11. Yui shared stunning Earth views from orbit on social media and contributed to experiments in the Kibo module, highlighting JAXA's ongoing role in international space cooperation. Last but not the least is mission specialist Oleg Vladimirovich Platonov. Born on 27 June 1986 in Chelyabinsk in Russia, he's a Roscosmos cosmonaut selected in 2018 as a part of Group 17. A former military pilot and engineer, he graduated from the Krasnodar Higher Military Aviation School in Aircraft Operations and Air Traffic Management, serving in the Russian Air Force until 2018. This marked his first space flight, flying as a mission specialist on Crew 11. Platonov participated in research and daily station operations during the 167-day mission, contributing to the multinational effort aboard the ISS before the historic medical evacuation. Now, reports indicate that a medical concern arose with one crew member. NASA has not identified who, citing strict privacy rules for astronaut health. Officials have described the condition as serious but stable, not an immediate life-threatening emergency. The astronaut did not require an urgent high-risk return. Instead, NASA's Chief Health and Medical Officer, Dr. James Poe, and agency leadership, including the new NASA Administrator, Jared Isaacman, have determined that full diagnostic capabilities on Earth were needed. As one official put it, the capability to diagnose and treat this properly does not live on the International Space Station. Things got more serious as NASA abruptly cancelled a scheduled spacewalk on the 8th of January, citing a medical issue with one of the astronauts. Within days, the decision was made to bring the entire 4-person Crew 11 home early, about a month ahead of their original February return schedule. This ensured that the affected astronaut could have received comprehensive care without lingering risks in microgravity. But why bring the whole crew back? Well, in spaceflight, specifically on the ISS, crews operate as tightly integrated teams. Now, the Dragon capsule they arrived in is designated for 4 people, leaving someone behind while sending others, therefore, was not practical or safe. Plus, with the next generation rotation mission, that is Crew 12, still weeks away, NASA chose caution. 3 remaining crew members, NASA's Chris Williams and Roscosmos cosmonauts Sergei Kuzerkov and Sergei Mikheyev, stayed aboard to keep the station operational, though at a reduced capacity. Experiments and maintenance continue, but at a slower pace until reinforcements arrive. This event is unprecedented for NASA. In over 65 years of American human spaceflight, no mission has ended early solely due to a medical issue like this. Computer models once predicted a medical evacuation from the ISS might occur every 3 years or so, yet none had until now. For comparison, the Soviet-Russian program saw similar early returns like cosmonaut Vladimir Vasyutin in 1985 due to a serious infection on Salyut 7. But for the modern multinational ISS, this is a first. After 5 months in weightlessness, 167 days of floating through modules, conducting research on everything from biology to material science, gazing at Earth below, the crew prepared for an unexpected homecoming. They closed the hatches, undocked from the ISS around 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time on the 14th of January and commenced the fiery re-entry. The capsule endured the plasma heat of atmospheric entry. Parachutes then deployed and splashdown occurred smoothly in the Pacific near San Diego. As the ISS approaches its planned decommissioning after 2030, events like this highlight both the achievements and the risks of sustained human presence in orbit. Crew 11's safe return is not just the end of a shortened mission. It's of course a testament to prioritizing life above all else in the unforgiving environment of space. For now, the station orbits with its reduced crew awaiting the next chapter. And down here on Earth, 4 astronauts begin their recovery, forever changed by their time amongst the stars. With us on the broadcast is Group Captain Dr. V.N. Jha, former Joint Director of DRDO. Thank you so much, sir, for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX on this very important mission that unfortunately had to end early, but it's a historic first for NASA as well, considering the fact that we're seeing for the very first time in the ISS's 25-year history, a medical evacuation take place, that too successfully. What can we expect next? Because there is the ISS that is in orbit, that is operating with a reduced capacity of 3 crew members on board at the moment, the American side with 1, the Russian side with 2. There is another mission, the Crew 12, that is planned sometime around in February.
Very good evening, Pia. This topic is very close to my heart because I have been aerospace medicine specialist for almost about, I think, 47 years now. And this is something which I have been closely dealing with, even when the beginning of the human space program started through ISRO. I have written a book onto this. And there is a chapter very clarified, very clear onto the human presence in the space. Look, what has happened about this group, the medical emergency coming up there, it is always expected. Space, when you go, you be ready with every sort of exigencies and emergencies which is possible. Look, we are human. I may be absolutely fit today, or there could be another young individual absolutely fit today, but tomorrow he may have some ailment. And when he has that ailment, then what should be done? This was the question being asked about 8th of January, when the same crew who fell ill was supposed to go for the spacewalk but couldn't go because of his ailment. He was not well, and subsequently he was evaluated that he was having some ailment, and he has to be investigated even more in details, for which he has to be brought to the earth. Now, all this happening, there are few things very clearly now coming through. One, that what has happened with this individual is nothing unusual. He must have been medically evaluated before being sent to the ISS. But aboard ISS, some new things have come up, some new emergency has arisen. So ISS has got some amount of medical instrumentations, investigative instrumentations, and emergency treatment sort of thing that is there. There's also a small vehicle which is purely meant for any emergency, medical emergency, if someone has to be brought back to the earth. That is always there. But when you send people to the ISS, they are involved into the research and development there. There has to be some sort of balancing act. Now, if this individual has to be brought back, who is not absolutely in the emergency, then they do take advice of all the ground staff there. They evaluate the individual there in the ISS, and then they decide, should we evacuate immediately or should we wait? So that is what they had taken a joint stand of waiting for these many days, so that some amount of pending research could have been finished by the another 3 crew, and then they all 4 could have been brought back. Remember, Crew Dragon of SpaceX has got the capacity of 8, but usually they don't accommodate more than 6. So 6 can always be accommodated. That is standard. Now, coming back, there are few questions that I was asking myself today. Now, this decoupling or undocking procedure has started about 10 hours before the splashdown. What happens if something goes wrong in this 10 hours? Is that small module called Crew Dragon equipped with handling of those issues? I think answer is no. That is why I was raising this question, even posed this question to the SpaceX also, that for such medical evacuation, such medical exigencies, you should have an alternative trajectory of bringing back the person. Now, remember last night, this individual has been decoupled, de-docked, and then he has been going around the earth for almost about, say, 6 rounds. And then on 9th hour or 9th and a half hour, he has started descending. Coming back from after deorbiting, it takes just about 42 minutes. Nothing more than that. It takes 42 minutes after you started the deorbiting, and with that process, then the trajectory is such, it just takes that much. So if it takes only that much, then why you have to keep that individual up in the sky for about 10 hours without any assistance of the ISS or the ground staff? That is one question that I had. Secondly, it's not that you immediately undock and come for a splashdown. No, you have to position at a trajectory from where you can start deorbiting. But that can be planned. Space science is something wherein we worked backward. If splashdown is at so-and-so spot, at so-and-so time, then we work out how much time it is taking in the deorbiting, and then for positioning of that capsule onto that trajectory, that also takes time. So add all those things, and in one of the passes, which is just before California, you do deorbit and come back. So it should take about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Then why for the emergency evacuation, we call it medical evacuation? then why for the medical evacuation you keep the crew for 10 hours hanging? That is one question that SpaceX must ask themselves. NASA must prepare for themselves.
Indeed,
Priya.
indeed, lots of lessons that India also can learn from this as far as our own human space flight program, the Gaganyaan, is concerned. With that, I'd like to thank you, Group Captain Jha, for taking out time, of course, shedding light on this historic moment that we've just witnessed.